Welcome back to the show. It's episode 285. It's March 15th, 2022. The NCAAs are just about upon us. We got another day to wait after today, and then it's Christmas time. So I'm super excited about that. I'm also super excited about our guest today. I've known him for a long time, out in upstate New York with Journeyman Wrestling. It's Frank Popolizio. Frank, how are you today?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, you bet. Are you? We talked off camera. You asked me if I was going to Detroit. I said yes. Are you going to Detroit? I didn't ask you.
I am going to Detroit. Yeah, I'm going as a fan, which is different. You're going to be working like a dog, and you always are. But I get to finally relax a little bit and watch some great wrestling, like Christmas morning.
Yeah, you run events. You got a club, right? You work a lot too. Do you get to go to wrestling events and just relax like this very often?
Not very often. So, there's an ongoing joke. I'm very friendly with Tom Scully from Adidas. And every time I have an event, Tom is very supportive, and he sometimes, Adidas is a sponsor, and he comes in and wants to visit. And I have a hard time being able to do that. I'm just, you're running an event, you're running a tournament. There's no downtime. So this is the exception to the rule. I get to be on the other side for once and get to enjoy it.
Yeah. You've been hosting events. What was the first event you ever hosted? I remember Sprawl and Brawl. I know there's Journeyman Duels, Journeyman Class. I don't know. I don't know what the first one was.
Actually was a youth event. Um, it was like a pop and flow, but it wasn't called pop and flow there. It was a scrap and scramble, I think we called it. And we had no business doing it. We tried to do it automated and it worked. We did it through Wi-Fi. I don't know how we limped across the finish line, but it was the beginning to the tournament game and our investment into, using our software and our automated system to kind of get into that whole world, paperless tournament. And I look back and I think, holy crap, we were lucky to not implode. There's so many things that could go wrong. It's like, driving a 747 jet and there's so many buttons and things to pay attention to. And we just ran with it. It worked.
I mean, was the goal to originally and initially was the goal to turn it into something to get us today? Like, obviously you put on a lot of events, you do a great job. Or was it, let's see how this goes and maybe do another one?
It really wasn't a huge part of the vision, but I knew we had a void. There was a void. You go to tournaments and you'd wait around all day and it was torturous, right? And
Yeah, of course.
we've all been a part of that, especially at the youth level. It's just absolutely a torture experience. And the more we did, the more we engaged, I should say, the more we started putting a focus on how do we make this efficient. And I connected with Sam Hazelton, who's a software guy, and he started looking at the mathematics and how we could bring it into a super efficient system. And that's exactly what we did. And then over time, we keep refining it. And I think we can run with the best of them and putting on a tournament now at this point.
Absolutely. So that first tournament, first of all, what year was that? Maybe you said it, but I didn't catch it. Do you know?
Oh, it had to be at least 15, 18 years ago, like
Okay.
15 years ago, at least. I don't know.
5 or something.
It was something I didn't make note of. Like I don't have that date in my mind.
Sure.
Didn't leave an indelible mark. I'll put it to you that way. It was,
Yeah.
we're just happy to get it over with.
Well, like you said, we limped across the line, right? So at that point, maybe you're not sure like this is gonna, turn into something or even be anything. Was there a specific event where you remember being like, that went well, or that was
Yep.
good? Yeah. What was it?
Actually, I got the idea from Iron Horse. They used to have a tournament that was run every year, every fall, and he would do small round robins. He was Gary out of
Yeah.
New Jersey, and this
Mazzacappo.
tournament was and was a very elite tournament. You had to be invited to go, and this was at a time where you guys had like the yellow ticket to qualify for. It had to be like
Golden
a flow
ticket.
major,
Yes.
right?
Wow.
So,
The Wayback
yeah,
Machine. Keep going.
yep, flow
09.
major, and I was
10.
dying to become one of those flow majors. I said I think I could create something, and it was a spin-off of what Gary was doing. I got to give him credit. He came up with the idea, and then I took it to more of a national format, and instead of just having New Jersey guys wrestling it with a handful of Pennsylvania and New York guys, I said let's expand this and let's make it into a national caliber. Not that the guys from New Jersey weren't national caliber, they certainly were, but I'm saying let's grab guys from all over the country. And we did that. And then as it evolved, the tournament evolved, it obviously grabbed a lot of attention, but we started to make more elaborate round robins. So instead of like a 4-man or a 6-man, it started to get into 10, 12, 14, 16. And now we're up to a 24-man round robin where you're not obviously wrestling everybody,
Yeah.
but you're guaranteed you're not out, right? You get
Got
5
it.
matches, so you're
Yeah.
never out.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
it's all meat and potatoes when you pre-qualify the
Yeah.
group.
That's
So
great.
that event, which was called the Fall Classic, and it still to this day happens that like the end of September or the first week in October, has become one of our marquee events, and it put us on the map. But it was the quest to become a flow major that was the catalyst behind it.
That's back in the day for sure. And I remember going to events with you and Joe and Hazard and having a blast, making stupid videos.
Yep.
And good time. So you saw Gary's concept of New York, New Jersey, I think it was, right? Top Kids, small round robins, and you expanded it nationally.
Yep.
And I know you have the Journeyman, the World Classic coming up in early April, I believe. And I know you've done not like world championship events, but international events, right? Where you would take with the Italy. I know that was an international event, but you brought international teams and groups here. When did you start doing that? And was that was that the obvious next step?
It actually really stems all the way back to Michele Liuzzi, the Italian coach, who's now, I consider him a brother, right? Mm-hmm. It goes back 20 years, where Liuzzi was wrestling at the World Championships. I think it was in New York City. Was it 2001 that the
3, I believe.
3.
Maybe it was supposed to be 1. Then 9/11 happened.
It was supposed to be 1, and we had the World Trade Center nightmare, and then it, I think it parlayed into a couple years later where it was there.
Yeah.
And that was the beginning of my relationship with him. And from there, we motivated each other. We started having, I brought him over here. He started teaching at our club. I started going over there. We started having exchange, like international exchanges. And then we started building tournaments and competitions. And now we have what we call the World Classic. It's going to happen April 9th and 10th. And it's one of the biggest tournaments in the world, not from volume wise, but the level of competition is spectacular. I think we had 20 countries coming this year. So it's pretty robust, right? We got people from almost every continent coming in, minus Antarctica.
How did it start, or maybe when did it start? How big was it, and like how has it evolved or grown over the years? And who are some of the big Americans who've come, and maybe big foreigners who have competed in this?
So we've had it started off more as like we bring a single team in, and then they are showcased. Like we had years ago where we had Austria come here, and then we needed to create some kind of competition for them, and it was more local. Right. It started off as a local, had a local flair to it. And then as we started going over to Europe, it really became a thing. Just the excitement of wrestling internationally and wrestling foreign guys and having the community kind of get around it, where we made an event out of it. And I took that idea and tried to, I become passionate about it. I'm really, really passionate about the international style, especially for young people. We don't really get a lot of opportunities for America to see international competition. In New York, we get to see Canada, but that's pretty much the extent of it, right? We're close to the border up this way, and thank God we do get that experience with Canada, and vice versa. I think they appreciate the ability to wrestle, guys from the States. Mm-hmm. But beyond that, there's obstacles, right? It's too expensive to leave North America and to see some of these other countries. So unless you make a world team or a Pan Am team, you're not doing it. So this has been a goal of mine to kind of let's get this thing here domestically and create it, and hopefully guys would follow. Now, over the years, it's been slow going. It's right. People like freestyle, but they get a little, they get a little apprehensive in competing in it because it's different.
Yeah.
And then if they hear that there's world level guys coming in, they think it's over their head. But it hasn't been the case. It really hasn't. We've had really good domestic guys that really don't have any big time accolades attached to their name, but maybe they're state place finishing guys out of New York, Jersey, Pennsylvania. And they get in there and they scrap with these guys, and the foreigners love it. That's why they're coming here. They love the American style. They love how we get in your face. We're forward, pushing. And we have a huge gas tanks. And they come here to really get beat. They want to get beat. They want to get tested. So it's a priority for us, obviously, to get Americans, and the better the Americans that we can get, obviously it helps the brand. But the brand of this tournament is huge in the world. It's bigger in the world than it is domestically. I'm the team leader for the United States Cadets for the last couple of years.
Yeah.
And I've gone, so every World Championships I go there, and it's awesome to see our, shirt. They're wearing the brand on the podium.
It's great.
Then they zip up, obviously, and put their country warm up on. But the fact that we're viewed as a real legitimate tournament across the world is exciting to me.
Well, I wish I had opportunities when I was in high school, and maybe I would have thought the same way. Kyrgyzstan, you throw a different country name out there, I might be like, no, like Greece, even if I don't even know. But it's like you need that opportunities.
Yeah, and I think the one thing that happens is guys prove themselves wrong. That they get in there and they're like, I don't know, this guy, he's a world team member from Kyrgyzstan or Kazakhstan. And we get in there and we're competitive. We are legitimately competitive almost all the time. Now, granted, there's some world level guys there that that'll put it on us, but it doesn't mean that we're not in the fight. And you pick up tricks, you learn afterward. We have a 3-day camp that we're doing, and guys get the opportunity to learn from one another. Coach Jackson, Kevin Jackson, and Miguel Liuzzi, like I mentioned earlier, those guys are going to run the camp. So, look, we go back and I look at the names of the guys that have come through: Yanni, Yakmahalis, Arujah, Colton Schultz, Kirkwood was there, McHenry. I go back and back. We've had world level guys, that have come through our system. Aaron Brooks. These are studs, right? Yeah. These are studs, and they didn't miss it. They didn't miss it.
Well, and to the point of like, you tell a high school kid in the States, Kyrgyzstan, Kazakhstan, Russia, whoever is coming over here, and they might be like, oh my gosh, but think about this. You go to the World Championships every year, and Russia usually wins. We did win a few years ago, and we're usually 2 or 3. We're really good. So you think about a kid from Kyrgyzstan or a kid from Kazakhstan says, I got to go wrestle an American. He's thinking the same thing, right? America's really good at wrestling, and they're going to come forward, and they're going to work hard, and they're going to beat on my head, and I got to figure it out. Now, what I think's cool about this, I didn't realize, I guess I had heard there's a camp attached, and I don't know that I absolutely knew that. I feel like the camp would be more beneficial and more enjoyable. I mean, everybody likes to compete, but right, you go out there, you wrestle 6 minutes, or even if you're getting 4 or 5 matches, versus, hey, now I can wrestle with these foreigners for 3 days, and there's no pressure, and I can stop and learn, and we can go over things, and on top of that, like building relationships, you can have conversations with people who don't speak the same language, right? You can talk and communicate, and my experiences of going overseas, I've been blessed, right, with this job to do that a lot and have a lot of great experiences. Is that I wish everybody would get that experience, because to meet people from different cultures and get to know them and understand to some degree how we're different, but really a lot the same. I think that's pretty awesome.
I couldn't have said it better. This morning I woke up and we had a little bit of a victory here. Kyrgyzstan, the girls' team received 12 visas. Awesome. That's really hard to do. It's not easy getting visas. So a huge part of my process is working in tandem with the State Department and congressmen that feel like they want to support this and are having dialogue with the embassies. It's a lot of work, and to get 12 visas, their entire team got that done, is a real feather in our cap. Now, here's the best part about it. I wake up this morning and I get a direct message from the president of Kyrgyzstan's Wrestling Federation, who's actually coming on the trip to thank us.
The Bruce Baumgartner of Kyrgyzstan Wrestling.
That's right. It's really, when you really put it like that, he's going to come to this event. And it really affords us an opportunity to really forge a relationship where the first thing that he wrote was, we want to bring you guys over here. We want to bring America to our country and show you what we can do for you. And it goes back to what you're saying. It's really an awesome experience. Once you're tied into the wrestling world and you have that international experience, it's unbelievable. I don't know. I've been bit by it. I've been real passionate about it because of those experiences that I've had in the past, like you articulated.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And the women, the men who grow up going overseas and continue to go overseas, they rave about it, right? And
Yep.
even like, I went to Uzbekistan, and that was not a great place, and I don't really have a reason to go back unless wrestling takes me there. But I'm glad I went. And I thought Kazakhstan was going to be the same way, the 2019 World Championship. Kazakhstan's awesome. It's nice. The food's amazing. Like,
they're pretty affluent, right? So as a matter of fact, we have over 20 guys from Kazakhstan coming in and 5 girls. So we have 25 competitors coming in from Kazakhstan. That's a huge, they're bringing 4 world medalists with them. World medalists. I mean, for us to have that opportunity, I think you're crazy. If you wrestle freestyle, I don't care at what level, you're crazy not to participate in this kind of a situation. And look, there's other countries there that aren't Kazakhstan, that aren't Uzbekistan and Kyrgyzstan, right? They're not one of the premier countries in the world. They're aspiring countries. Like New Zealand is bringing some people. Cool. They have a different mission. They just want to be exposed to it all, right? Yeah. And they don't have a lot of opportunity when you're from New Zealand and you're in the Pacific. But guys from Bolivia, guys from Panama, guys from Peru, they're in there. They're competing and they want this opportunity too. So there's different levels. Not everybody's a world beater. Let me put it out there. Not every single guy that's coming here is a world beater, but we do have there's a lot of competitiveness, and it's coming.
Yeah. So you said there's an event and then 3 days of camp. What does the event? Is the event 1 day, 2 days? What's the event look like? Tournament, duels? How many matches are you getting?
Yep. The teams will arrive on the 6th of April. Okay. Then they'll get acclimated a little bit and just get the cobwebs out. And then we wrestle on the 9th and 10th. On the 9th, the boys go into an individual round robin tournament. On the 10th, the girls go. But we also have a dual meet competition to go with the girls. It's a boys dual meet, but they're wrestling on the same day as the girls. So one of the main attractions for the international guys is that we do round robins. They want matches, right? And when you think of developmental, you can go 0-1, right? If you go internationally, and you take a tough loss, you're done for the day. You're done for the entire tournament. You just go 0-1, which sounds crazy when you're spending a boatload of money to get somewhere and compete. So the way we have it set up, they're getting a bare minimum 4 matches, maybe 5, and then the next day they're going to get another 4. So within 2 days they're going to get 9 matches, and that's a huge selling point. So that's how that first part goes, and then they're going to go to New York City for a day, just to kind of see the city, and we bring them back and we go into a 3-day camp. And that's how the international guys want to do it. They want to wrestle out of the gate and then have a relaxed atmosphere to learn, just like you talked about. They don't want to be uptight and show the guy, what they got. They kind of want to get it out of the way first and then be able to learn from one another.
Yeah, because nobody wants to. You want to do the hard part and then get it over with. You said it, and then be able to relax. You don't want to come somewhere and go to this New York City, but maybe I'm cutting weight, or maybe I'm getting ready to wrestle and I'm anxious, and maybe this is my opponent potentially, so I don't want to really mingle. You get that out of the way. You beat each other up. Hey, go look at New York City. And we did it the other way. Before, we would more of the American style, right? We would have them come in, grind through a camp, and then at the very end, we would wrestle in a tournament. It was, quintessential American. Yeah. And they were like, no, let's do this the other way. This is how we do it in the world. And we changed their thinking on it. They're much more relaxed. And then we have 125 at the moment. I got 125 people coming in
And that's international, guys. That's not including Canada. I'm talking from abroad. And the tough part is I got more hitting me up right now. Just this morning, Australia hit me up, wants to bring a boatload of guys. And I just don't know if I can accommodate everybody because there's so many little logistics that you got to worry. I got to house them, we got to feed them, and then we have to transport them locally. So the buses, you're busing people back and forth, and it's hard to feed 125 people at a time.
Yeah.
Unless you're in a school setting, which we're not. So we're piecing it all together, and we've gotten good at that. It's not that it's over our head. It becomes expensive.
Yeah,
it's expensive to put on. We'll probably spend between the camp and the tournament $75,000 to do this, and it's not a moneymaker. This is completely about passion, and it's something that's about benefiting the United States of America. That's the whole premise behind it. I've worked hard to fundraise. We got guys like Mark Ross from Oak Grove, Bob Renee, Adidas, and Rudis. Those guys are all helping to facilitate this. But I'm going to tell you straight out, it's not an easy lift. As a matter of fact, out of anything that I do, of all the tournaments, college down to youth, this is by far the hardest. I got 7-8 months worth of work already into it, and there's no guarantee people get those visas. But we got a good track record at the moment.
As far as Americans go, right? Are you selecting people? Are people contacting you? Who gets to wrestle, and how is that determined?
Well, it's a great question. In the past, we've had the benefit of having Kevin Jackson on staff for USA Wrestling, right? Or he's technically was the developmental coach for the cadets, and he'd reach out and say to maybe the top 2 guys in each weight, "You got to be there. Let's go." Yeah. Unfortunately, he's moved on. He's at Michigan, right? And he's preoccupied at the moment. So we have a little bit of a void. Just this morning, I hit up Bill Zadok and said, we got to figure it out. We got to get guys from the United States here. At least the top 2 guys, at least that, and the top girls, right? I don't want to leave the girls. The girls, I'll tell you what, the girls come to scrap. And we've gotten right now, just as a sidebar, we've got Hungary, we've got Austria, Switzerland, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, and Norway bringing girls. Most of them are world level. They've either placed in their continental championships or at the world championships. So we're dealing with a really good level. We don't have as many girls as we're going to have guys, but it's the first year that we're doing providing the opportunity to have a girls division. Now, that being said, to go back to it, we need people to step up. And if anybody's going to the World Team Trials, how would you not be here? These are the same guys. If you do win, it's the same guys you're going to see. It's the same guy. Look, every year I go to the tournament, and as well as we do, we get bit in the ass by somebody that was at my tournament, right? And we didn't get the opportunity to see when they were here in the United States in April. One of the guys may have skipped the tournament, and we get bit. We get bit by that guy, and he was here. I'll tell you, the last time we did this, we had Popolizio from Greece here. He won the last chance qualifier that prevented Jordan Oliver from going to the Olympics. I mean, that's the level. That was one of the guys that was wrestling in our event. Now, he got into it. Chittum got to wrestle him, and they got into an all-out fight. They started punching each other pretty good. Chittum got a good feel for him. And
he's like who's that guy? It's like when you see a dust bowl going like this, and you see arms and legs punching out in the cartoons. That's what I think of when I see Chittum wrestle.
Yeah. And I talked to Chittum's dad. He says he's going to be a part of it too this year. Sweet. So, I'm just saying that there's some high end guys here. We need the United States cadets and for that matter, young juniors, right? When I say cadet junior, I'm talking about the UWW portion of it. Hey, and there's one other thing that USA Wrestling, Rich Bender in particular, helped us secure a victory. We don't need a UWW license for our cadets. That was huge. That was also a barrier, right? I think it's like $100 bill or $125 bill to get that license if you wrestled in a tournament that had more than 3 international teams. So we don't need that. We got that waived, which is a huge feather in our cap, just from a financial standpoint.
Sure. Let's say there's a kid sitting at home watching this or listening to this, and they do want to come, but they haven't been contacted. Is there a way to reach out or something they can do?
Yeah, just hit us up on journeymanwrestling.com. Right when you go to the front page of the website, that's what it is. It's just like, hey, I want to register for this. It's pretty in your face. I guess I'm calling people out. If you wrestle freestyle and you think you're going to go to the World Team Trials, how do you not participate in this? I have a problem with it. I think it's kind of, to a certain degree, it's almost, and maybe people are delusional. They just don't know. They just don't understand it. And maybe it's my fault for not being able to properly market it to them, because we got decent numbers, but I would hope that I'm overwhelmed with the amount of people that want to wrestle internationally, especially knowing that if you're trying to make a world team, you get a shot at one of these guys. We got, again, 20 countries. Figure it out, right? Figure it out.
I can't think of opportunities.
We hear things. Yep. We hear things. Sorry to interrupt there, but okay. We hear things like, it's expensive to get to New York. How much do you think it costs to get from Kyrgyzstan? It's a 13-hour flight.
Yeah.
These guys are paying $1,000 and $1,500 a plane ticket to come here. So you can't use that one on me. You can't use it's expensive to get to New York.
Well, let's get to New York. Let's get as many people as we can, and get some international wrestling at a younger age, right? And even if you're going to go there and maybe you lose, if your ultimate goal is to be Olympic champion, which a lot of kids is, like, you got to start. So you got to get out there and put yourself out. So I think it's an awesome event you got going on, Frank, and I hope a lot of kids take this opportunity, because it is an opportunity to see international competition, feel the different feels, because we all talk about this international feel, and not everybody wrestles like an American. In fact, most people don't. So if you want to compete internationally, you need to get as many feels as possible. Now, it is NCAA week as well. I want to talk some NCAA wrestling.
Yep.
Well, okay, we were talking freestyle, right? We've been talking freestyle this whole time. We're going to talk at least a little folk style. The old folk style freestyle debate, Frank, do you have a preference?
I love folk style. I do. And I have become much more in love with freestyle in its modern, the most modern edition of it.
Yeah.
I like the 3-minute periods. I like that there's an element of conditioning involved in it. It mimics our folk style to a certain degree. And I do like the feet. I like wrestling on our feet, and it puts an emphasis on that. So I'm kind of split now. I used to be really heavy folk style, really heavy. As a matter of fact, I got really criticized early on in our club, from our club standpoint, that we didn't embrace freestyle. Well, now after Virginia Beach, we convert completely over to freestyle, and so we're all in. We're all in. So I'm putting my money where my mouth is on that one.
I couldn't agree more. I coached high school folk style, obviously, before I started working here, and folk style guy my whole life. Did a little freestyle, wrestled some at Fargo, not do great, but a little bit of the freestyle circuit in the summer. But I was all folk style when I was coaching. It was like folk style, and I loved it. And I loved the scrambling, and I love grinding. But man, I have come to love freestyle more. It's and maybe it's the modern era. You're getting rid of the ball draw. You change the rules, like you kind of implied. It's faster. I think on the mat the action's faster, and the matches happen in a shorter time. They happen more quickly. And And I do appreciate how tough it is to hold somebody down and to ride somebody and all that. But from a spectator point of view, for me, freestyle is 10 times more exciting and more entertaining and appealing. So I've come full
It's
circle.
gotten there, right? It's kind of really evolved into that. You go back to the era when we were grabbing the bag and looking for the ball. It was torture. It was absolutely torture to watch. And we killed ourselves over it, right? I mean, essentially the sport really suffered. But some of what makes us great on the international circuit is the stuff that we get out of Folkstyle and that ability to grind and be tough. I think it translates over. So there's benefits obviously from it.
Sure. Okay. NCAAs. You've been to the NCAA tournament, obviously. Do you remember your first time going and maybe who won a certain weight class or any story or who won the team or what do you remember? What year do you know what year it was and what do you remember?
Yeah, I remember my brother Pat was getting recruited and he signed with Oklahoma State. And so it was his senior year in high school. We went to go watch the NCAA tournament. I don't remember where it was, but I knew it was his before he went to be a freshman at Oklahoma State.
What year did Pat graduate? Do you know?
I think he was 96.
Okay,
so it had to be, I think it was, did he graduate high school in 96? Something like that? No.
All right. That sounds about right.
Yeah. So he was really the thing that pulled us. He was the magnet of getting into watching that. And I'll be up front with you. I don't think I've missed it since. I go every year. It's like a pilgrimage for me.
Yeah. Same.
And I remember being in, like it used to be done at schools.
Yeah. 96 was in Minnesota, it said.
Yeah, probably.
But go ahead, keep going.
Yeah. I mean, after a while it's a blur, right?
Yeah.
I've never missed one, right? I keep going to every single year. And it's really, I don't know if there's a more exciting event for me. Like I love it. I love going to that, being in that atmosphere and seeing the loyalty of the fan base to those guys that are battling out down below and the battle for the team race. It's incredible. And it's tough for me because I work a lot with the different college coaches. So I'm partial to a lot of them. I really love to see successes and individual successes too. You're working behind the scenes with these guys and you see how hard they're working at it. And you just want to see success for everybody. And unfortunately, it's unforgiving there. People,
brutal.
It is absolutely, you see people, their life skit, and I don't mean to laugh about it, but it's like everything comes down to this, and it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be that scrutinized, I guess, of success. How does it weigh? Because there's so many little battles that occur just to even get there, and these guys are building. They're building programs. They're building people. They do a good job. Almost all the coaches that I've had the opportunity to work with, they know that. And just those 3 days are really tough though.
Yeah. I've had the opportunity maybe 3 or 4 times to like embed myself with a different team at the NCAAs. And at that point, because I don't really care who wins or loses, right? That's not my job's to get the interviews and cover the event and tell the stories. But when you're like in the van and in the hotel and like embedded with the team, you're kind of like feeling what they're feeling and you see it, and man, it a lot of times we're pulling the coach to the side in between rounds or asking the coach a lot of questions. That's to not bother the athletes, but you feel the tugs and the highs and the lows and the roller coaster and the unforgiving that tournament can be. And I'm just super stoked to get there this weekend. Well,
yeah, the one thing I get out of that is that the highest of the highs don't compare to the lowest of the lows. They get crushed.
It really is.
I remember the year my brother's team knocked off Iowa and Oklahoma State in the same year, right? And then so he's rolling into the NCAA tournament feeling like a superstar. And I think the one round there is like every guy lost. Every guy got wiped out. And it was in New York City.
That
right?
I was with them. I was with NC State that year. And I know exactly what you're talking about. It was like,
and how did he react? I mean, it was on. I was looking for him on the side of those skyscrapers. I didn't. It was rough. It was rough, but it calluses you up, right?
Yeah.
And as time goes on, I mean, ask any of those guys that have been in that position. They get calloused because it is an unforgiving environment, and it either is going to make you stronger or it kind of washes you out.
And to the point of, it's never enough, right? Because another year I was embedded with Missouri, and they had a shot at the title mathematically, and they lost like 3 matches in the semis to Ohio State, and Ohio State won. I think Mizzou ended up 3rd or 4th, but they're like disappointed with the trophy, right? Pat's going for the trophy. He doesn't get it. He's disappointed. It's like, and soon enough, Pat's going to get a trophy, and he's going to be disappointed. And it's just going to be like,
listen, I say it to him, all those guys, if you bring home a trophy, it is so incredibly difficult to do. And if you look back and how many actual teams, I'd like to statistically look at it. How many
20,
teams brought back trophies ever?
20, maybe over 20, but I don't know.
Yeah, but not many.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, not many. It's really hard to do. And it's this, the same traditional programs are just kind of jockeying for position in there. And if you can be one of those from the outside, jumping in, it's, like you think about Flynn with Edinburgh getting a trophy.
Yeah.
Holy smokes. I mean, that's amazing. I know it's a little bit out of my territory to talk about expertise in that area, but I look at that kind of stuff and I'm in awe over the ability to kind of step up to that level.
Awesome. Okay. Last thing about NCAAs, is there anything you're looking forward to? Is there any specifics or anything in particular you're looking forward to this weekend in Detroit?
I just like I said, I work a lot with these guys overall. Yeah. It's kind of, a smaller scale than you, but I get to work with them. I put on some events and they're at them. I'd like to see individual successes, guys that I have built a relationship with and see them succeed. That's important. So,
sure. All right. Winding down here, but we got a little game we call Sweat It Out. It's 5 questions designed to make you sweat. Kyle Klingman usually does this portion. Kyle's en route to Detroit right now, so he sent me some questions. There's some challenging ones in here.
I don't know a lot about anything, so it's going to get ugly.
We're hoping to stump you, Frank. Sometimes there's a theme. We'll see if you can pick up on it. But okay, number 1. What was the first city to reach 1 million people globally?
First city, is it Beijing?
No.
What is it?
You've probably been there. That's not a great hint. And
New York City?
Your family's from not far from there, if not right there.
Rome?
I counted it right, even though you got it wrong first, but okay.
Holy crap. I didn't know that.
133 BC. This is according to Kyle.
1 million people back then?
I didn't know it was a million
people.
Who's
verifying that, by the way? Did they have a census done?
That's a great question. You just checked in online. There was an app for it.
Holy smokes.
Yeah, who knows how they did it, right? Okay, number 2. Dan Gable's favorite movie is It's a Wonderful Life. Who directed that movie?
It's a Wonderful Life. Italian director.
Am I right? There's a theme. That's, at least so far.
Begins with a B. Is it Benigni?
It's not a B.
No? Am I off? What is it?
First name's Frank.
It's a Wonderful Life. Maybe I'm thinking of the Italian Life is Beautiful. I'm thinking Life is Beautiful.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Frank Capra.
Nope. Don't know. I was going with Life is Beautiful. Italian movie.
All right, number 3. We're going to skip number 3 because it's too easy. Number 4.
I'm gonna need an easy one. I'm striking out.
Well, we'll decide whether or not to insert it at the end here. What North Carolina State wrestler won the NCAA championship as an unseeded true freshman? These are hard questions. Maybe I'll throw
Is
that
it
up.
Is it Tab Thacker?
No, I never heard of this guy. Did I say undefeated? It's unseeded. I don't know if I said unseeded or undefeated.
Unseeded. Was Tab seeded? He was
a
big guy.
So 1980, at 167 pounds. I doubt that helps.
I don't know.
Yeah, Matt Reis, R-E-I-S-S.
Matt Reis is an official now. He's actually worked Pop and Flow.
There you go. I bet I'd know him if I saw him.
I didn't realize he was a 57 pounder.
67 back then.
67,
which I guess would be 74.
Yeah, he's a good guy. I didn't realize he was unseated.
Okay, well, you're 0 for 3, so I don't think we've ever had anybody go 0 for 5.
Jesus.
You could be on your way. In 1861.
What are we doing?
I don't know. It's quite... in 1861, the term for carbonated water with flavored syrups was coined. What was that term?
Say that again. It was
the term for carbonated water with flavored syrup. So what right, there's a term for something, carbonated water with flavored syrup.
Is it seltzer?
No. No. Now what's carbonated water with syrup? You know? Like, what is that if you think about it?
Soda.
Yeah, but what's the
Pop.
Boom.
Soda pop.
Pop. Get it? Last name Pop. The one answer was Frank. Got a
is that? I didn't realize
he's got an Italian one in there. He's got an NC State. Like,
yeah, I'm struggling.
Yeah. Okay. Then I'll go back to number 3, which I was like, are you kidding me?
What's my name? Frank Popolizio. That's probably where we need to go.
Well, okay. Number 3. What major music festival was held in downstate New York in 1969? Now, this is what he wrote as the question. One of the words in this seemed weird to me, but go ahead.
Well, I just went totally blank. Woodstock.
Is it downstate? He called it downstate. Is there such a thing?
Woodstock is downstate from me.
So that's what that means, from you. But is it anything past New York City, like kind of upstate?
Yeah, they like to say that, but
if you live in upstate, that Socrates is downstate.
That's right. Socrates. Okay. We had a guy from our club from Socrates named Dennis Bermudez, who fought in the UFC.
Yeah. I think you wanted me to wrestle him at one of your tournaments. I was like, get out of here.
He wrestled, what's his name there?
Gray Maynard. I was there. Yeah.
Gray put a hammer on him, though.
Yeah, well, Gray was
tough. And he was big, too.
All-American. But I think Bermudez fought 45 and Gray fought 55. So not that much difference. But okay. Well, sweet. You went 1 for 5. So congratulations.
I feel like a champion by heart. You know.
We'll give Klingman big props on coming up with some tough questions for you. So I appreciate that. And man, it's been a great time talking. I'm excited about the Journeyman World Classic and the duels. I think it's just a fantastic event. It really sounds cool. And it's not just an event. It's like it's not a festival. It's almost like camp. Like not just a wrestling camp, but like a camp experience, right? Like it's an experience. You get to compete and you get to train and you go to New York City and spend time with, if you go to camp, you go away from your neighborhood, you're with the people you don't normally be with. This is like an international style version of that. So very cool, Frank.
Askren's group's coming in for that. They're gonna stay for the duration. So
cool. Man, that's fantastic. So that's going to do it. Hopefully I get to run into you in Detroit. But is there anything, we're going to give you the final word, anything you want to say about anything, Frank? You have the floor.
It's time for America to step up. Let's go. I'm calling you out. You got to get in there and scrap with the international guys. And thanks for giving me the opportunity to talk today. I appreciate it. Absolutely, Frank. Thanks so much. I'll catch you in Detroit. First beer's on you. Thanks.
Thanks, man. See you later.
You got
Bye-bye.
it. I'm on.
You're the man. I appreciate it.
All right.
All right, folks. Frank Popolizio, as always, an awesome, entertaining guest. We really appreciate him coming on. And that's gonna do it. That's gonna do it for this week's show. I'll be traveling out to Detroit tomorrow, so no show. We'll pick up next week. Hopefully, we'll get some NCAA champs on yet. We can't ask them to come on because we don't know who they are. But we're gonna get some people who compete in the tournament this week on the show next week, and some people who place, and hopefully some champions and or some coaches. So that's gonna do it for Frank Pop. I'm Mark Bader. Thanks so much. Hopefully, we'll see you in Detroit. Goodbye.